Hello everyone. Let us talk about India's nuclear policy. Ever since India got independence, from then India had a keen interest in its nuclear programs. The first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, was a man who was deeply interested in technology and therefore he advocated the development of certain nuclear programs in India. There were some reasons for that. Number one was that to fulfill the energy sources and the energy requirements of India. And number two is for protection because till that time USA and also USSR were having the nuclear weapons, and hence it was important for the countries like India to also develop their nuclear weapons for protection. And also India supported at that time the universal nuclear disarmament. That means that India wanted to have a nuclear weapon for themselves to protect. But India was also in the favor that not much countries should have nuclear weapons. So this was a paradox in India's nuclear policy at that time. But further, it was cleared because a series of events happened. Prior to that, there was also a treaty signed that was called PTBT. That means Partial Test Ban Treaty in 1963. India supported it. It indicated that no country will further do nuclear tests. But later on, there were a series of things that happened in with India. Number one, we have to encounter two great wars and very devastating wars with Pakistan and China in 1962 and 1965. Also, till that time, China had also conducted its nuclear tests, and China was also a nuclear armed country, which was a threat to India. And also, till that time, all the P5 nations that were the USSR, USA, China, France, and UK, they all had the nuclear weapons, and it was an immense need to develop a nuclear weapon for India as well. And hence, the Prime Minister at that time, Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri, created a commission uh, and told them to make a nuclear weapon for India in the coming 6 months. But but due to some circumstances, they were not able to do so. So and further on in 1968, there was a universal non-proliferation treaty signed in the world, which indicated that only the P5 countries will be able to legally have the nuclear weapons. But India didn't support it because if only some countries are having nuclear weapons, then the other countries will feel very unsecured and unprotected, and hence either everyone should have a nuclear weapon, at least the responsible countries should have nuclear weapons, or no one should have. Hence, India does not support it, the NPT, that is the Non-Proliferation Treaty in 1968. Further, we also saw that a war happened with Pakistan, the Bangladesh Liberation War, and in that there was an immense need of of India's nuclear program, because prior to that, Indians were confused that should they have a nuclear weapon or not. And in the internal politics of India, there was a lot of divide. The Hawks and the Doves. The Hawks supported that India should have a nuclear weapon to protect itself, and the Doves should said at that time that the Dove had a stance that India should not have nuclear weapons and it should stay peaceful and liberal. But after the 1972 war, again a demand of nuclear weaponization of India uh, urged out, and the Hawks overcome the Doves, and hence a nuclear program was launched under the leadership of uh, that time Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi, and the first India's nuclear test was conducted on 18th May 1974 in Pokhran. The operation was called as Smiling Buddha, but as a consequence, there was a lot of things that happened with India. Number one, the U.S. and Canada cancelled out all their nuclear exchanges with India. There was a lot of sanctions, and also the NSG, Nuclear Supply Group, was established in the world to protect and to restrain the radioactive material that is used in the nuclear weapons. Uh, and and as a result, India also got many sanctions from many countries, and hence we were protected, but there was a lot of sanctions, and that was a bold step by the government as well. Later on, we saw that the CTBT was signed, that is the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, and this time also it states that only the P5 can test the nuclear weapons and others cannot. But India still didn't supported this also. Next, the USSR decline. Because USSR was a major supplier to India in terms of food supplies, in terms of military weapons, in terms of diplomatic support. USSR was uh, USSR was a great support for India, but it declined in the 1990s, and India was facing a lot of economic distress at that time also. Hence, it was an immense need to protect India's territorial boundaries from Chinese aggression, and hence there was again a need of India's nuclear weaponization. And also, Pakistan also conducted its first test of a nuclear weapon in 1990s, and hence India felt a need to again do its second test of nuclear weapon, and again it was done in Pokhran as well. Three tests were conducted on 11 May, and two tests were conducted on 13 May 1998. The operation was called Shakti under the leadership of Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Next, so India's stance were right now very clear that India stands as a nuclear weaponized country, and India will protect its interest rather it has to adopt a nuclear weapons or not. But due to this, India faced a lot of external friction, a lot of sanctions were there, and in 2003, the Indian government adopted some of the very liberalized steps and the anti-nuke steps. That was the India's nuclear doctrine. India formalized that what will be its policy about the nuclear weapons. Number one, India will not use India will uh, never do the first use of nuclear weapon. So that is a very good news for the world. That was a very good news for the world, and that was a very liberalized step by the Indian government. Another thing, India will not attack with the nuclear weapon to any uh, non-nuclear capable country. That was also a good step, and also uh, India claimed its interest and said that if any bioweapon or chemical weapon is attacked on India, then India can use its nuclear weapon to defend itself. And also India said that there will be a negligible export of nuclear technology from India. So these were all good steps, and further to that, many treaties were signed between India, USA, and India with another with another nuclear groups in the world, and also India was seen as an anti-nuclear stance. So that was all good. Again, due to all these things, due to all these liberalized things, in 2008, NSG gave a waiver to India, and now India can get to some extent the radioactive material, that is the thorium, plutonium, uranium, that is required for the nuclear reactivity. And talking about the today's stance, where does India stand today? Then India is a member of MTCR, that is the missile technology uh, regime. The missile technology regime, India is a member of that, which clearly indicates that India is seen as a very credible and mature uh, country to handle the defense technologies. But India is not a member of NSG because China always stops India to be a member of NSG. China says that India must sign the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty, uh, according to which only P5 will be able to legally hold the nuclear weapons. But India is not willing to damage its interest to become the member of NSG, and India stands strong at its right to hold the nuclear weapons. Today, currently, if we talk about, then the only members who didn't sign the NPT are India, Pakistan, Israel, South Sudan, and North Korea. Well, India, Pakistan, and North Korea are confirmed to have nuclear weapons, and Israel have not officially declared that it has or not the nuclear weapon, but this is an open secret that Israel have its nuclear capabilities, and South Sudan is not having the nuclear capabilities. Hence, India, Pakistan, and North Korea remains some of the countries which stand strong, and they hold the nuclear weapons for their own interests. So that was about India's nuclear policy. Thank you very much.